agenda. 2.1 recommendation.
That council adopts the agenda as presented.
Can I get a seconder?
Second.
All in favor? Any discussion?
Oh, it's the next one.
All in favor? Adoption of minutes. 3.1 recommendation. Marcel?
Sorry, the council adopts the regular council minutes held July 20th, 2022.
Can I get a seconder?
With an amendment. Yes.
Correction.
With a correction, I guess. I emailed it to Sandy earlier this week, but I can't remember what page it was.
Go ahead.
With an amendment to the minutes 9.9, we forgot to put the seconder, and the seconder was Councillor Hebert, so that will be corrected before the minutes are.
All in favor? For introducing late items, 9.1 or 9.9 Northern Development. Can I get a seconder on that? And all in favor? Public hearing none. Delegation 6.1 recommendation. Danny.
The council hears the delegation from Iron Wolf Athletics to Jane Mike.
DJ, you're up.
Hello, my name is TJ Micey, here for Iron Wolf Athletics, of course, nonprofit sports organization. I run most of my programs currently in your local fields, and what we're kind of looking for is we'd love to continue. We're already working with the fields to improve them, but we'd like to kind of grow that. So right now I have a little over 420 members, but I work very closely with a lot of the communities, Fort Nelson, Fort St. John, Taylor, Hudson Hope actually comes up every time, and Grand Prairie as well. And Grand Prairie is actually the largest softball community in Canada. And so we want to kind of build off that. And there's just definitely some improvements that could need. Some of the things I would request or ask you guys to look into is possible permission to get sponsorship or funding from local community to help out with those improvements. So I would need a letter from the village saying it's okay for me to get those. Yes, ma'am.
Did you get the letter already?
No.
We talked about it.
So I just thought I'd bring it up. So with that letter, that would allow me to get the funds to just do some improvements that we could do personally. Some of the other improvements I kind of want to look into, whether it's discussing with the village to work funds or opportunities there, is we'd like to meet the NSA requirements. So NSA is the National Softball Association. So for me to hold official events through them, I can still host events because I work under them, but most official events, we need to match certain requirements for them. And one of them, the timers are a little too short, but we can correct that by expanding the height of the back fences to compensate for the length. So that's what they do in Grand Prairie. Actually, their new diamonds some of their new diamonds are too short. So they compensate that with the height of the back fence and put netting up. The other thing is aerating. I know this village has worked on aerating and seeding the fields just because they're very kind of hard, it's almost like running on concrete. Just minor things like that. The infields need some more earth. It's been quite a few years since there's been any sort of fresh earth they're brought in. New bases. We've had a local business offer us some paint to repaint the dugouts. Again, we just need permission. They would do it under a beautification project, beautification project. And then longer term, it would be discussing and looking at possibly putting in a third field. There is space. See the look, there is space. But if we did that, it would allow us to. So we just ran. I helped with a group run a large tournament for the Dawson Creek Fall Farm Rodeo. It was a $10,000 tournament, and we had teams come from all over competitive teams from all over the area, and come up and camp and stay in the area. Now Dawson Creek only has three diamonds, right? We can make.
You were there last time.
Yes, I was helping to host the tournament. So, and it was a lot of work, but it went very, very well, right? And it's just bringing that back in to the community and getting people to come and stay, right? I hosted one exciting event that hosted the all ladies tournament. We have a lot of men's and women's mixed and things like that, the all ladies, and it went exceptionally well. So those teams all said they're coming back, and they've actually requested to do a full all ladies weekend next year. We actually have, I had about 11 teams on board already. So it'll be quite a big event. Of course, we get all the ladies, and of course, all the men will show up regardless. But it's getting them back in and staying, right? Staying, bring those sponsors, bring those people, and get that activity back in there. And then even the possibility, like I do host a lot of softball, but I also host other sports. So my main thing is working with youth and adults, go kind of from 10 to 16, and then the adults, and seeing what the community village is open to kind of revamping that. Like I've rented the gym before, and hosted my own programs, but I'd like to kind of get it back out there. It's a big, for mental health, it's crucial, I feel, nowadays, and I'd kind of like to get that going. In the past, I've hosted volleyball and basketball and futsal, indoor soccer, and it's gone over very well. And so I kind of want to see where we can take that and really get more people involved. And like I said, just see it back in the community more. Like I had a house here and spent a lot of time up here, right? So that's kind of the direction I want to go. Just keep hosting those tournaments for the summer, grow that. There's a lot of opportunity there, especially because you guys do have the facility for camping and keeping people right here. You know.
Well, we just like the campers are only for the people that play golf, right?
100%.
We
Yeah.
don't want some-
This is the overnight.
Yeah, no, and that's just it. So a lot of tournaments, like with the goal would be kind of do like Taylor does. Taylor is one of the hot spots for softball tournaments. So they come in, everyone camps at Diamond so weekend. Yes, we come in, we clean up after and everything else like that. But it just brings a lot of vibrance, a lot of activity for that community for that weekend. And then they're gone. Yes.
Maybe anything in writing for what what you're currently looking to sort of do. So is there different improvements that you would like to make, or is there any way we could get?
Yes, I can drop that off.
Yeah, that would, you listed off a bunch of really, really great things. I mean, I tried to work it in, and I thought, you know what, we should.
And yes, I do have them all written down. So
Yeah.
that's easy.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
So would it be something, because to meet the NSA standards that you want to meet and stuff, I imagine there's going to be some cost to that. And then, down the road, if the person wants to build an extra ball diamond, have you worked out with your sponsorship what your potential revenue is going to be off of that sponsorship, so you know how much? So if you were to say, sit down with the village staff to come up with a game plan to bring back to council, say, hey, it's going to cost this much, we're going to contribute this much, and this is kind of what the plan is.
Yes, and I'll drop that off with the information on what the plan is with that. We kind of set with that, and there is a lot of support to grow that. So, I mean,
TJ, just want to stop you for a second. So you want us to approve just for the funding now?
currently right now would be, what I'm looking for currently would be some approval to get some sponsorship for those fields. So what the sponsorship would do is I would just be able to go to local businesses and say, would you guys help out with some funds to improve these fields? I already have a nonprofit, I have things, so you can track the funds and things like that. But we do as much as we can personally, but of course one of the other options I had spoke with and asked was, I know the area is named, but the signs, there's no signage for like the diamonds themselves on each diamond. And it would be nice to have a local business sponsor. So it's a nice sign, it would be a nice, here's Diamond 1, let's theoretically say like Co-op Diamond 1. Well, it gives them that promotions, but it also beautifies the thing. And you can actually now see, okay, we're going to meet at this diamond, which is really improve it. Basically, no cost to the village.
Andy, is it okay if we approve him just for funding tonight?
Make a motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we just approve for the funding for him to do. Yes, for sponsorship. You have something to say, Brian?
Oh, I was just gonna say we're just gonna give a letter of support
For him to go out and get them.
Currently, just the sponsorship to go out and ask for sponsorship to further improvement.
So a letter out, or letter
Letter
in.
endorsing sponsorship. And I'll work with TJ.
Signature on it?
You did already.
Okay, all in favor? And,
And the rest I will drop off to give you guys a more in-depth view to look over.
Yeah.
And if anyone has any other questions, you have my number.
and can you grab one of my cards and give me a call tomorrow?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, you're welcome. 6.2, recommendation that council hears the delegations for STARS from Glenda, sorry, Glenda, I don't have any classes. Armand, sorry. Seconder? Come on up.
I can't tell you how happy I am to see you in person.
Yeah.
Once again.
It's nice, eh?
It's so nice to be back in the same room together rather than just on screen.
Yeah.
No, it's not gonna work.
No worries. I appreciate your help.
So do I.
There we go.
Thank you.
You also have it in your packages.
So, it's a pleasure to see all of you again. I'm pleased to bring you, we have another update because we have so many exciting things happening at STARS now. You know, over time, like the last couple of years, COVID and everything, like it's been quite busy, and now it's increasing. It's still increasing. You know, hopefully COVID is kind of getting under control. There are still variants and cases. So anyway, we'll get started. So first and foremost, I want to thank you very much for your partnership. Your continued partnership with STARS is ensuring that STARS can provide critical care anywhere. So, and we're talking about COVID. We have remained under very strict protocols in order to protect our operations. We've taken a very slowed approach to reintegrating like our support staff, so other than operational staff. We've continued to see increasing stress-related types of missions like heart attack, stroke, drug overdose. Previously, in the height of COVID, 1 in 5 missions were COVID-related, so approximately 18% of all of our mission volume. Now, as I said, with the different variant cases, we are seeing decrease, though, intubation requirements, not quite as severe, you know, so decreased hospitalizations as well, so that's a bonus as we move forward. Our transport physicians, now they continue to provide critical care guidance for hospital personnel, and which would include like virtual consultation with physicians, as well as airway management and ventilation and resuscitation procedures. That's hard. Is there, you can't really see the, oh, but you do have it. Okay.
Yeah, everyone has it.
Okay, that's perfect.
Way bigger than the.
Yeah, the proportion is not quite right, but that's okay, that's okay. As long as you have it in front of you, that's perfect. So our Emergency Link Center is located in Calgary. It is a 24/7 safety network, so they have access to all available resources, GIS mapping, preset coordinates for every base across Western Canada into, like we work very closely with your Kamloops Dispatch Center as well. So our transport physicians provide medical oversight on all critical calls. So regardless how that patient may be transported by ground ambulance or fixed wing, if it's critical, our transport physicians are providing all the medical guidance. So we currently, you know, they determine the mechanism of injury and illness. They determine the best transport method for that particular patient. Fixed wing is, like from A to B, from airport to airport, fixed wing is faster. But when you start to take a patient from scene call and you need to get them to the hospital, we can alleviate all the ground transfers by going by STARS and go, scene right to helipad, or hospital helipad to another hospital helipad, right? With alleviating all the other transfers, which also can be really critical, especially with the trauma patient. So we are working very closely with your dispatch center out of Kamloops to progress that. We've seen great improvements in our collaboration together, as well as we meet quarterly now. So all of your dispatch directors, the director of BCEHS, like all the different levels on your side, meet with our dispatch director of the Emergency Link Center to coordinate everything. So they're meeting quarterly. So that's a wonderful way forward now, how we're collaborating together in the best interest of any trauma patient. Currently, for STARS, there's about a 1 to 10 ratio is what we're seeing. Meaning that if, let's say, Dawson Creek were to have 10 missions per year, then it's very likely that we've also assisted either your hospital, your first responders, your medical personnel with 100 different calls just through the Emergency Link Center by coordinating, by giving virtual consultation, all of these other aspects. Even if we don't fly the patient, we are in some way assisting those other additional emergency requests. Currently, we are seeing an average of 99 emergency requests every day. Last year, we received over 36,000 emergency requests. We do not fly on 36,000 requests, but again, our transport physicians determine what is the best mode of transport for that patient and provide that extra guidance for your local hospital. So we started with this new pilot project where our transport physicians are now taking a shift in the Emergency Link Center, and they're coordinating all the complex logistical arrangements with the receiving hospitals. It's proving to be just phenomenal. So they are there now scheduling with the receiving hospitals for such things as scheduling a neurosurgeon, or mobilizing a specialty team, or scheduling the cardiac cath lab or CAT scanner, because with a stroke patient, the CAT scanner is mandatory in order to determine whether that patient can receive the thrombolytic drugs. So it's our physicians that are in virtual consultation. They can now make virtually face-to-face decisions with the local physicians in the hospitals. We can now transmit real-time diagnostics. So right while we're en route to the hospital, transmitting all these diagnostics and test results from the patient. It's proving to have extreme positive results. Now we can have our critical and trauma patients going directly into the emergency or the operating room, skipping emergency and everything, directly into the operating room. The neurosurgeon has already been scheduled. It is a game changer. So, this whole COVID thing really forced us to think outside the box in order to support our own mission. We had to identify operational as well as fundraising efficiencies. We were even forced to downsize staff members in affected areas like events, for example, across all 6 bases in 3 provinces. Our STARS lottery in Alberta is our single largest funding source for Alberta, the 3 bases in Alberta that serve both northeastern BC and southeastern BC. Our calendar campaign, it decreased because we had no ability to travel. We had no way of having a presence in communities. We had to pivot many of our long-standing rural community events that they would hold an annual event each year, pivot them to online events. So they would host 50-50 or a raffle or something instead, because we could not get together and actually have a community event. So that's kind of standing as we move to the future. Currently, there is still an unforeseeable future for a lot of our mainstay events. then on the Alberta side, we've been working with Alberta government for a long time. There was a HEMS review that was released, Alberta Health Services, early in March. They did make an announcement. They would increase government funding in Alberta for the 3 bases to 50%. Currently, still always being, for the last 12 years, at 20%. We have not seen the timeline though, so we do not know when is that going to happen. I mean, currently, we're still going to need fundraising. We're still going to need our municipal supporters like you. You are the ones providing the sustainability that we can count on each year, because the mission rate is not going down. So, you know, that is a sustainability piece as we move forward. So we're still hopeful that Alberta government will hold true and that they will come to 50% funding, which would align them with Saskatchewan and Manitoba governments, what they're already doing. So we're hopeful. That's the most I can say, but it's yet to be determined when we will see that. So currently, you know, 20% government funding, 80% fundraising of $39 million a year. I'm telling you, 80% fundraising is not an easy task. So this is where we stand. 3 bases in Alberta. Of course, you can see that the STARS lottery is our single largest funding source that we have. Just over $12 million net per year. Calendar campaign has decreased. On the expenditure side though, it's important to understand more than 3/4 of all expenditures are aviation and medically related. We still remain at 12%. I think this is our 4th year that we've remained at 12% for base operations and administration costs. CRA allows up to 35%. So we very much feel that we are doing our due diligence, holding that at 12% per year. So let's have a look at this is a 5-year overview of statistics, and including this year up to June 30th. So within the Peace River Regional District itself. And then there's just, I put it at the bottom there, there's been 2 more recent missions near McBride as well as near Taylor that were not included in these statistics up to June 30th. So you can kind of see, you know, I would say you're fortunate that we haven't had something specifically in your town in the last 5 years. At the same time though, everyone travels. It's important to remember and look at the bigger picture, you know, that we all travel, commute, go for, you know, youth activities, recreational, it doesn't matter where, right? You still have access to STARS. The bigger picture is that your residents have access to STARS across Western Canada. We have 6 bases. We have 3 in Alberta. We have 2 in Saskatchewan, Regina, and Saskatoon. We have 1 in Manitoba and Winnipeg.
Can I stop you right there?
Yes.
Is there something that Sandy could put on our website for our residents to know that that information is out there?
You could ask for a link to our STARS website, which has all kinds of information and VIP stories and all kinds of things that way.
Just so the residents know, like when they're reading them, they'll know that
Absolutely.
that's available to them.
Yes, that's an important factor, right? So currently, you know, you can see how the missions were kind of up and down. 2018 was when we were kind of really working more closely with Peace River Regional District Board, where they brought all the players together at the table so that we could really start to open those doors to collaborate more closely together. And with that, then you can see that now we were being called for missions and we were responding, and the mission rate was going up. And then as of last year, like it was up to 20, where previously in the early years, we were doing 30 or more missions for the Peace River Regional District area. So we just wanted to progress back to that and have good, solid relationships with all the partners on the BC side. So now, municipalities are a significant part of everything as far as support for STARS. They recognize STARS as an essential service and also as an asset of emergency protective services. It's important that we all work together to ensure that we all have access to a robust health and safety network. So everyone is on a either per capita basis or an annual fixed rate income commitment. So we're adding a lot of towns and villages now throughout the area, very much like Peace River Regional District. You all have a representative on that board, but then they, as a whole, make a contribution to us every year. We finalize a 3-year pledge this year, so I will be going to them in October to ask them to relook and that we would like. But in addition to that, you yourselves have made a contribution and a 3-year pledge to us, which we're very, very grateful to you for. So currently we have 90% of regional partnerships across Alberta, including into Eastern BC in your area. You've been a partner with us since 2007. Like, that's something for us to really celebrate, as well as along with all your district neighbors that are in partnership as well. So currently, we're generating for the Grand Prairie base that serves your residents and area, we're generating over $2 million in operational support collectively. So it's very much a partnership, right? The ones that you see, including Peace River Regional District with the red boxes around, now they've received logo recognition, having all reached $1 million in cumulative giving over all these years. So they all have their logo on the STARS helicopter. So that is something in itself to be very proud of. That Peace River Regional District is the only entity on the BC side that has reached significant logo recognition and is represented on Alberta's helicopters. I think that's phenomenal.
Too bad you guys couldn't set a base bid.
Well, it's very challenging. We did look at it several times. It's just, it was hard. We're going all the way back to like 2008. Trying to work with BC government. We wanted to bring one here. Then we thought we had a way forward. Then the government changed. We had to start all over again. And it's very difficult in the fact that, it's very difficult even for Grand Prairie for us to maintain that base. Like, we have to rely on the rest of Alberta for that base. We just don't have the numbers. We just don't have the volume and the numbers to generate what really is required to have a full base. So it didn't work out that we could be on this side without having BC government support. And because you're very much like the Grand Prairie side, that we just don't have numbers. I always tell people in Alberta, like, we're in Grand Prairie, we're 1 million people short compared to Edmonton and Calgary. And that's how the government works, it's based on the numbers.
Yeah, they just need to get that line out and we'll be down there.
Yeah, that's right. We'll just be together and then we might have the numbers, hey? So, in the middle of the pandemic, like, who knew that we should be tackling a $138 million fleet campaign in order to have a new fleet? Our fleet was approaching 40 years old, very aging. But the biggest factor, like, we keep them up meticulously as far as maintenance. But then they put different parts. And then it was COVID, so they couldn't even get delivery, but now they weren't even making the parts. So it's like, oh my God, what are we going to do? Really forced our hand. I'm very happy to say that all levels of government were at the table. So between federal government, Saskatchewan paid for one helicopter for their province, Alberta paid for one, and then we raised an additional $47 million from corporate, dedicated individuals, and even municipalities, and we finalized this campaign. So there are 9 brand new H-145 helicopters, and what we didn't anticipate at the time that we had the contract with Airbus was because of COVID in 2020 and 2021, with such increasing mission numbers, we decided that we would take advantage of the current contract we had while it was still in place for the cost and purchased a 10th helicopter at the very, reduced rate of what it would be even now after 45 years that we've been working on this campaign. So there will be a 10th one that's going to arrive late fall. We have 9 to spread around across 6 bases in 3 provinces, and then the other 3 are backup that will rotate wherever is needed when there's scheduled maintenance or anything unforeseen. We do plan that we are starting to work on the sale of the aging fleet because there is still a market for them. So depending on market value and the rate of the US dollar, then we will be starting to sell those off and attributing that to the 10th helicopter that we are hoping to have in the next few months. So currently, we received for Grand Prairie, ours had a welcoming event at the end of May. So your residents are now being served by this brand new helicopter. And we expect to be fully operational across all 6 bases and 3 provinces by the end of this month with the new helicopters.
Right on.
This is a look at the interior, it's breakthrough technology. It outperforms the previous VK117 in speed, range, and fuel efficiency. It still has the powerful twin engines. It also has just extreme advanced avionics like autopilot, auto cover, which is going to greatly reduce pilot fatigue, especially in back-to-back missions. Superior safety features, I like to say, it's no different than if we were still driving around in a 1945 car compared to what we have today. Significant, day and night difference. It's the same in the helicopter world. This has a new 5-bladed system instead of 4, so it's giving it increased lift and load capacity. Very beneficial in complex terrain like your terrain in the Capua area, mountainous area. It's going to be very beneficial for that. It even requires less maintenance. So with that, it means that it's going to have increased availability. It's also going to have reduced costs. So it's a really wonderful machine. This is the latest technology in a world-class intensive care unit environment. It's just amazing. Along with our STARS crew, who are also world-renowned, known for their critical care expertise. So when you combine that with this intensive care unit environment, the fact that we now, we carry blood on board, so it's universal blood that can be accepted by anyone. So we're the first in North America to carry blood on board. It has cutting-edge diagnostic tools, like I explained to you now. The handheld ultrasound, for example, we can detect collapsed lungs, any kind of internal bleeding. They can be transmitting that while we're in the air to the receiving doctors at the receiving hospitals. So they can already be making a treatment plan while we're en route. It has got Bluetooth, integrated Wi-Fi, satellite connectivity, so that's what allows all of the transmitting of the test results. Virtual enhancements is really allowing us to now provide critical care virtually anywhere. So, in closing, STARS was born out of necessity. We have now flown over 50,000 missions since inception in 1985. We thank you, Village of Kuskupi. We thank you and celebrate 15 years of partnership. You being represented on the Peace River Regional District Board, but also personally your contributions as well. Your current pledge is at $10,000 per year, and it was for a 3-year term through 2023. So we hope that you will continue to find value in that for your residents, that you are ensuring that they have access to STARS wherever they may travel in Western Canada. Our request to you is that in October, whoever's representing your council at the table, when I present to the Peace River Regional District Board, that you will continue to want to support STARS services in your area. So their previous commitments have always been a 3-year commitment at $170,000 per year. And now, just so you know ahead of time, that will be what I ask for them, is to renew their exact same commitment. We understand that it's been a lot of financial challenges for everyone the last few years. So if we can maintain what we know we can still use to operate, then that's what we want to do. So we're going to ask them for the same amount of support for another 3-year term. In closing, I just want to say a life is saved every day. And it's partnerships that make it possible. You make it possible. And with that, I'm very, very pleased and honored to offer a small token of our appreciation to the village of Moose Kootenai for being our partners in saving lives. And hope that we can have a photo.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Where should we go? Right here, is this good?
Sure.
Is this great?
Okay, there we go. Okay.
Well, it says, Village of Moose Kootenai, our partner in saving lives. Thank you for your steadfast commitment to the STARS municipal initiative. We hope that you'll proudly hang it somewhere that your residents will know that you're doing something very special to ensure that they have a robust health and safety network. Thank you for your help with this.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate your partnership.
Does anyone have any questions, Marcel? Do you want to ask them about the?
No, actually, no. Yeah, actually, from what I've seen, in the last time I've seen one of his presentations, actually, technology's come a long way with the helicopters. Yeah, it's a good thing for your buck.
It absolutely has.
Very nice.
That we are over the moon. They have this new helicopter just the last couple of months. It's just like night and day.
Will you be bringing it up here?
Like,
You want to bring it for show and
well,
tell?
I mean,
You can land it at the park.
now, like, I don't know. I think it will depend on when we work with East River Regional District. If they want to progress to something that we might try and do something again, you know, because, I mean, they're on the counseling, they've already reached the over $1 million in cumulative support over the 15 years, right? But we may be able to, it's hard to say because it would be determined on where they may want to have some type of a public showing thing. The rules for, Transport Canada has really locked down in the last 3 years the rules of where we can go when it's not for life-saving measures. We can land anywhere, once, anywhere, if it's for life-saving measures. Once you start to go the same place all the time, then it requires a helipad and structure and those types of things. For events, public events, it's a whole different ballgame, and the rules are very strict.
Well, I would just like an indication when you go down to Grand Prairie, when you're in Grand Prairie.
Well, I certainly, if you wanted to plan something where you wanted to bring council and you wanted to actually have a personal tour and come to our base, I definitely, if you were willing to do that, I definitely can put something together. So that you can have a first-hand look up close and personal.
Does STARS service Fort Nelson?
It's not that we generally do because it's always in the best interest of what the patient needs. Because they are so far in the fact that, but we have been there a couple of times over the years. It's not that we don't go there, we just would need to refuel in order to get further and then refuel there in order to come back, right? The fixed wing, a lot of time, especially in that type of case, it would make more sense for them to do fixed wing, say to Fort St. John, and then we might rendezvous and pick up the patient and take the patient further, you know, but we have gone there a couple of times because fixed wing was not available. And one other time it was, weather issues where fixed wing, there was nowhere for it to land on a, you know, fixed wing requires a, runway. If you don't have a runway, well then, you know, it changes the face of everything and what you do. So that's why it's so important that critical care physicians are the ones that are all the decision makers for what is the best mode of transport, you know, all these other factors that have to do with the critical patient. So, but yes, we have, long answer, but yes, we have gone a couple of times, but it's not often, just because of the distance and it would be faster as long as it's available. for your time.
Well, then I guess you're free to go.
Well, I wish you all the best for this. I hate to say the word, winter, but it'll be coming, so I wish you all the best, and I will look forward to seeing someone there in October when I go to the Peace River Regional District Board. And then, I will be back in the new year to see you and bring you another update.
Thank you.
Thank you.
8.1 recommendation, new business, 8.1 recommendation.
Our council receives the 2021 annual report for discussion, and the council adopts the 2021 annual report if they concur.
Can I get a second? Discussion? Any questions? Art?
I do have some questions. Is it only village business in the fire department? Like, it would have been nice if we even had our library board, maybe not pictures, but who our library board is, our museum. Different things. I have a number of
Is this
questions.
a draft?
Draft that needs to be approved pretty quickly. We've never put the library or the museum in our annual report. They're not funded the same way the fire department is. They're their own entity.
On page 36, donations 2021 at the bottom, you have stars. Mention stars.
Yes.
Um, 36, page 36. And the Legion says $595. That was an ad, wasn't it?
Yes. No, it was in place of the ad. So every year we get that request from the book, to place an ad in their book, and council for the past 2 or 3 years has opted, instead of placing the ad in the book, to give the Legion the amount that the ad would cost. And that's $595. All of it. So we make a donation to them in that amount. Instead of putting it in the book. Anything else?
I'll make a motion that we pass this. Can I have a second? All in favor? Opposed?
Okay. 8.2 recommendation that the council receive the 2022 stormwater management system feasible study report for information and board discussion. Can I get a second? Discussion?
So, imagine you went over this with their, like, recommendations.
This is a very high level stormwater management system report. It just touches on, 3 different, so this was added afterwards. There was a summary sheet on your desk that, I had stuck it just beside it. So Urban Systems did a quick breakdown on kind of the quick, what it would cost, and it's approximately a 10-year program. It's expensive. Urban Systems is willing to come and do a delegation in regards to it. When we get further into, this was just a preliminary report, and we have to do a feasible study as well. We have to eventually do a feasible study on this as well. This would be considered a capital project over a number of years.
Yeah, because I've seen the recommendations, and some of their basic recommendations were, cleaning, just simply cleaning of ditches and undersized culverts and stuff like that. But is that something that is in the realm of public works to start looking into that?
We've already started changing the culverts and stuff.
Yeah, because I've seen that was in the recommendations, that was on the library recommendations for.
Did you know the background behind this study?
No.
Do you remember, Sam?
I just remember it was asked for, in depth.
Well, we had a special meeting, and there was Lorraine, Barb, and myself, and, somebody brought up a member of the public for these bigger homes over in the area across the track. And then the feasibility study came about to see if it was at all feasible.
There's climate change
That's the
grants.
background.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I know last year we had some flooding issues, and I think some of the stuff that was in here, we addressed some of those flooding issues, and relatively, in the grand scheme of things, looking at, a $4.5 million, and something that's relatively on
But
the
there's
less
things-
expensive side.
There's things that, we need to do because of the flooding.
Yeah.
And that is our main priority right now.
You maybe can't answer this, but would our public works need to have special equipment and that in order to maintain
That would be-
curb and gutter?
That would be in the next studies.
Okay.
They would explain, and I believe Urban Systems could explain a little better. I'm sorry, this is not mine.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that you, sorry, go ahead.
How much does this cost us, this feasibility study?
This is the feasible study.
Well, this
Yes, it is.
management feasibility
Yes, it
study.
is. And you guys have put $25,000, I believe, in the capital and special project.
Oh, okay.
This is part of the capital and special project. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're right.
Daniel?
Reading
No,
through
10,000,
this,
sorry. 10,000.
yeah, reading through this, like, with everything we have going on with our lagoon, this is not something I generally focus on. Our lagoon project itself is gonna cost millions.
Oh, I don't plan on doing this tomorrow. But we
Okay.
still need to get this underway to know what we're gonna do in the next 10 years. James? Next 10 years, we need to know, because there is gonna be flooding. We already had some flooding issues that we need to take care of.
I think though currently, I must say, our works department did do a fantastic job this year of staying on top of it. Through cleaning it out and steaming it and just really preparing and being knowledgeable about major flooding places. I would just,
No, because our steamer, they had to come back and work to Public Works to fill it up full of water.
isn't that something we're already looking at doing by looking into getting that other truck?
Well, not necessarily, because there's another fire department looking at it as well. So we might not get that one.
And it's just a haul and another or a steamer. It's not going to be redone up, so it is a steamer, right? Am I correct?
There's
This is
been-
what you said
I think
last
Sandy's
time,
got some more
not
information on
refitted.
this, So, I think that plan isn't gonna work because there's other people interested in that truck and there's some other stuff going on that's outside of us. But, yeah, the thought was to attach a steam unit to that truck and make that truck. So that it had a little
More
extra
water.
water capacity, but it doesn't matter right now, that's not gonna work.
The public works director and I have talked about it, and now he's talking about it. Council had asked how old the last steamer was, and we brought all that, and I believe him and Trina have been talking about it.
purchase a new one, I think it's 10,000, or maybe just under,
What?
about $10,000 to purchase a new one.
And how old is it?
Over 25 years.
25 years.
And if we had another steamer, that would help. And, Public Works has said that they can rig something on one of the, either the trailer or one of the pickup, I believe, right? Or a trailer, or something like that. They've been talking about it.
Yeah.
At this point in time, I just don't think it would be financially responsible for us to move too much forward ahead with this. The culverts and stuff, we need to change some of the culverts. But even by looking at purchasing and maybe putting that money towards a new steamer to steam out those culverts, those are undersized.
Culverts are undersized, and they're not.
I just don't know where we're gonna get $2.1 million from when we're already in a deficit of $1 million.
Well, we will have, Edward come and explain that to us. Money.
Are culverts, they're replaced every year, aren't they? Some? No? Wasn't there at one point or another, the CAO?
Damaged ones.
In 2017, we bought how many culverts and we changed them all? There was quite a few. Huh? Yeah, and that's all we changed.
Oh, okay, so it's not a program that you're carrying
No, but that's what we're
on.
trying to get them so that they
No,
are.
but we do need to do
Yeah.
something per year.
So when these culverts are put in, is there any charge to the personal homeowners for these culverts?
The homeowner put their own culvert in.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the ones that
They
we
put their own in, they
replaced,
pay for the culvert.
yeah, when we replaced them, did they pay for them?
I
We
believe
replaced
those
them.
are on our roads.
Yeah. Those are ours that were.
Not driveways.
Ours are undersized.
That makes sense. So with the residents, what do you do with the undersized culverts?
We have to tell them that they have to change their culvert, I guess. I'm not sure. That would be what Edward, we have Edward here to
Part
help
of
us.
this plan,
Oh,
they've identified, problem areas and where we should start with. And then alternatives to maybe different drainage or ditches. They're very good, they can explain it very well.
It's also in our asset management,
That we have
the
to,
roadways and, whether infrastructure report that we have. It's all in there too.
So can I have a motion to have Edward come? And can I have a second? Whenever he's free. Then our next council. Can I have a seconder?
This council has only got 2 more months. It's not something that maybe the next council should look at.
So new council doesn't start till the first Wednesday in November. So it's a very interesting month for October.
Yeah.
I will be bringing a report forward for October 5th that we need to cancel the meeting because that's a dance full day. So I'm not gonna be hosting a council. And then the election is on the 15th. Then we have another council meeting on October 19th.
We have three in September, so we have 3 in town.
And then in the first Wednesday of November, that's when the new council will be formed.
Is it something that maybe we should put on the pen board to bring back in November so that council to say that? Let's do that. I'm gonna pull that up.
So speaking as a new counselor, coming into a project that was already started, it might be something to, just building off what I was talking about, having Edward come in, just have Edward come in and explain to the new council right off the get-go when they get into it, so they understand what because they're gonna be in for 4 years, so they're setting up for success. So,
Any other questions?
It is how the water runoff from the village affects neighboring farms. Because I know in previous years with a good chunk of the runoff, when it's down there, it's washed out roads. Repair and replace, as well as driveways. But it's washed out roads just because it's on its way down to the tree break. And also the other thing, the study or look at it is
Or the storm area.
PRD is, what's it gonna do to that road that's over there, just what's on the bridge. Just for
Or something to
consideration.
bring up with Edward. Go all in favor? Are we all in favor for mine about bringing it back, right? That was my point.
Tabling it, so.
Tabling it till like November after the new council sit in and bringing it back. How you doing there, Sandy? Are you good?
I'm doing just peachy.
We already discussed it before.
8.3 recommendation. Danielle.
The council received the fire hall survey for information and or discussion, and the council directs administration on the next steps.
Did I miss something? I wasn't aware that we were going to do this. The last time we talked, we were gonna have a community meeting, the fire department, in September.
No. Yes, sorry. So we had sorry. Oh, sorry, sometimes your expressions. Yeah, so what we had talked about last time is we were gonna send out the community, information package and then look at doing a survey so that people can sort of get an idea of some of the things that we're wanting to talk about at the town hall or at the community meeting. And so a few of the things that like the fire hall council have been tossing around are levels of service, as well as fire department sustainability, right? And so the survey, looking at different things we could put into a, survey, this made the most sense. Like more questions are gonna come up at this town hall or community council, whatever, from the information package. But this will generally answer the one big question that comes up here quite often, which is, what level of service does the community want?
Do you think that we were here for financial reasons as council? And we would know these things, what's acceptable and what's not. No service to the village could be totally unacceptable. Do you have the levels? That is supposed to be something that we would know.
But we
Like,
should
when
have,
was it decided as a council and voted upon that we were tier 3? That was the question that I'd asked last time, and I would certainly like to know that. I do not understand a survey.
I think the residents would like to, see this and have an opinion. We should be reaching out to because for the last, 2 years, we've had fire hall at every freaking council meeting. We discussed it. So I think to let the residents know and choose how they feel. Right.
And I've always been for a referendum. This is such a high-cost item that I feel that
Referendum is more cost.
I realize that it's a cost, but it is a fair cost.
Fair. Danielle.
From what I've seen in the time that I've been here, this is a cost that is well worth it tenfold. Because as Mayor Kenny pointed out, every single meeting the fire hall comes up. It is a topic in this town that is abuzz all the time.
Totally.
And this is giving residents an opportunity to not only come down to a referendum or a town hall or whatever you want to call it, as well as look at the different services. You say no service is outrageous, that's great, but other people might not agree. They might feel, you know what, that's what I want. Other people may say tier 3, full service, what we currently have, that's what I am looking for. sustainability, I think that's great, that sounds, getting the opinion of the residents, how is that ever bad? I don't understand. Is that how this whole thing started?
Not saying that the opinions of the public is not relevant. Of course it's relevant. And the town hall, it's supposed to be just an open discussion. No decisions are made at a town hall. It's just putting everything out there, getting feedback from your residents at the time. It's not meant to be an argument about, well, in this instance, the fire hall. It's just a open discussion with the public. When we put out a survey, these surveys are not well responded to, and decisions are made based upon these surveys too. Like the community letters that went out, that was based on 6 people responding. What kind of survey?
What survey?
The village letter that we put out, the information letter that we put out. There was a
more
survey.
than 6 people.
No, it was about 6 people that were.
Some of the newspaper.
Village
Your
Voice.
monthly bulletin thing that you put out.
Village Voice?
Yes. It
was more than 6 people.
well, I mean, it's not 800 people all gathering up and saying, I'm going to answer this, and then
But it's
decisions
not
are
800
based
people
off of
are voting either. If it's half of the village or 3/4 of the village, then that's what we take.
I would like to see a town hall, open
We're putting
discussion.
this out there, she said she still has plans of doing a town hall. Danielle,
I'd like to put a motion forward that we schedule a town hall for September in regards to the fire hall package and the fire hall system. Is the fire hall
invited.
I hope so. It's a town hall, you're not very strict. It's a, you're opening it to the public. You can't say there's.
With my gift.
Regards to the info package. I feel that our fire chief should be there, for sure. He is the fire chief, that's like the most.
We also gotta watch, because we also get money from the PRRT on these tier levels too.
So that's my emotion, can I get a second?
All in favor?
Hang on, so just for clarification, this, like, I'll be passionate, so that this was to come back strictly for information, to go with that information package that we sent out, so that we know, have a better feel of how the community was before we go into that town hall meeting.
This was separate from the info package.
Oh, okay. But this information.
She wanted it done in 3 steps.
Yeah, this is step 2 and step 3 was the.
So this is like data collection.
Yeah.
We are collecting data from within our, community to inform ourselves and the next mayor and council on what the community really wants. Even our town hall, that's data. That's a moment for us to collect opinion from people as well. I'd also like to, is there a way that we could have it where people can take a picture of their responses and email it into our village email? Because some people, yeah. Can you add that to it? Where, like, rather than have to come in and drop it into the mailbox? That's how I respond to all surveys. I take a picture of my phone.
Make separate motions, one for the town hall and one for the survey.
Well, that is a separate motion. Because, like, we're right now talking about this. And then, okay, wait a second.
Okay, which one are we, right now we're voting
The
on the
motion
town
on-
hall, right?
No.
Town hall's on the floor right now. Okay?
Set a date for it.
I have to look at the calendar because September's quite a busy month.
And
I will send an email out in
Marcel was
a few
seconding
days. Yeah, I already got that. If
We're all in favor.
response by,
And then this, I want a motion for this
survey.
to go out. And like Danielle said, if you can have them take a picture and
Saturday.
seconding this. Marcel? All in favor?
I'm opposed.
Noted?
Yes, please.
And 8.4, the CN Rail support for the resolution.
The council, 8.4 recommendation that council receives the resolution in support of the Rail Safety Week for discussion, now secondary. Discussion.
So are they just asking that we put next September 19th to 25th is?
Asking for this resolution, next page. Resolution's there. If you're in favor of it, you just
Motion,
need to-
Sandy, that we make that.
So you are. You're making this. You gonna read that? Just read the bottom line. It's on page 64.
It's organized.
My thing's just organized, like always. You guys should know that. It can be anywhere. It is hereby resolved to support National Rail Safety Week to be held from September 19th to the 25th, 2002. 22. Oh, 2022. Sorry. All in favor? Okay, now correspondence. Anybody see anything? Only
Fire department, report. There's rescue. What does that mean? Was somebody rescued in the village?
Probably. Where it was, but it could have been a rescue, car rescue, or, what else did they rescue? Accidents.
Yeah, I was gonna say the
rescue for medical.
Stuck in a fight. Okay. Stuck on your roof.
Blair, thank you.
Cat stuck in the tree.
I must say, I love his new layout.
That
That's
would be-
much easier to read.
That would be thank you to his new assistant, because this is not fire chief.
This is, I like this, this is very easy to follow.
And it answers inside of the boundaries.
Yes.
9.2 recommendation.
Okay.
Council receives a report from the bylaw animal control officer for information. Can I get a second? Second. Discussion.
All in favor? Aye.
Just wanted to ask, does the officer ever go around and just view things independent? Or does he have to receive a complaint
Describe that.
from
He
residents?
observes. And he attends complaints in the report. And he actually goes to what I was gonna ask.
Nobody answers.
A lot of times when he's like going to, somebody complains about a dog running wild, by the time he gets there, the animal has moved on. Is he driving from Dawson? Like he doesn't stay here all day? No, he drives in. Oh, okay. That's a struggle, isn't it?
9.2, 9.3 recommendation? Or is that anything anybody else wants to see?
I'd like to know if council could participate in this back to school advertising. For the,
I feel that it would be a very good investment to have this back to school safety advertisements on the radios.
which option do you think we should go for?
The middle of the road is good
The
for
30,
me.
50 second? Well, do you want to make a motion for that?
Well, I wanna know.
Danielle?
So with the whole back to school safety thing, so this is talking about running a radio ad, right? Okay, as a young person, I haven't listened to the radio in over a decade.
I just see it all the time.
Can we put it in the
Yeah.
newspaper? Can we, or like get like a sign put on the fence reminding people? I know, you're giving me eyeballs, but I'm just saying, not everyone listens to the radio.
Not everybody reads it either. Final cost more than that.
I know, well.
Can we just not put it on the village website? That'd be way cheaper. Sandy?
We have a couple options. We could put a message on our website, we could put a message on our Facebook, we could ask Courtney to put, safety
You know,
message
concert.
on the reader board.
I think that's better, cheaper.
And another option would be we could go to a sign company, like you said, a back to school sign, but have a back to school banner that we could just attach to the fence at the school every year. We put it up for so long, then we take it down, clean it up, we put it away, and then bring it out. It probably wouldn't be, well, probably be about $300 or maybe less.
Maybe something we could reuse.
I'm just thinking about these local radio stations. When we advertise with them, and it also supports the purpose of those radio stations. And, I mean, it's not just about school safety, it just shows that. So I would like to make a motion that we choose option B and invest $1,000 in advertising.
Anybody second?
Well said.
All in favor? Opposed? Opposed? 890 rate view, I'm opposed.
Not, it doesn't need to be
You're in
noted.
favor?
No, I'm opposed.
Well, then you have to basically do it. But I won't vote it if you don't want to.
Until the banners, is that right?
Are we still getting the banner, Phil?
But I made a motion.
I'll make the motion to do the banner, and a motion to put it on the websites, and everything else that we just discussed.
So, Courtney Adams.
And Courtney added to the library sign, please. Have a second. All in favor? The honor, BC honor awards were already done, were they not, Sandy? Wasn't that what Bob Zimmer was doing?
Yeah, no, it's not this one.
Aye.
For the honors, we have an outstanding citizen within our village who's always been there for a lot of years. And that person is Gordon Merrick. And I understand that he feels that he would not accept it. But I think looking at someone who has given so much and to wait until it's posthumously is just not right.
But he won't accept it. He won't.
He has been involved in community and very giving. And I've known him, well, it's probably 1968 when we moved here. But when his kids were going to school in Dawson Creek in elementary school, he was there, both him and his wife, and very supportive.
He still brings his potatoes over to the school.
Yeah, he grows and donates his fields. He's shown leadership in a number of different things in our community, which is the Museum Board, the Foundation, the Brook Holders, the seniors, the Santa Claus Parade. We asked him to donate his time, and he's right there. And I really feel that he
Well, we can do it, but, he won't accept it. So what do we do? No, but I
realize that, we can try if they want.
I would like to submit his name forward, even if he doesn't accept it. It's, recognition to our community. He may not accept it, but red is red, but we do want to recognize.
And I'd like to put motion for Donna White as well, because she's done the same thing the whole time she's lived here.
Are you okay adding that to your motion? Or would you like to do separate motions?
Can I get a second on that? Finish? All in favor?
There will be questions to answer. Is everybody okay if I email them? Because I don't know everything about everybody. I would like to get it right. I did this for, Sue Crichton. She didn't go accept it.
It's difficult when you're a dating person. Like, when you're outstanding citizen and your community recognizes that, it is something to aspire to as a human being. And I think everyone, if there was a bit of that in every person, a great place to all be. Right?
So nobody sees any more, correspondence on 9.9, Northern Development?
What's this,
Pardon?
Forestry Enhancement Society.
That was in your package.
Also
oh,
includes
okay.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So are they just looking, is this just for information, or are
It's
they?
just information.
Okay, then. So the request for the letter of support, development of integrity booking software for passengers of travel into the north, they just want a support level, right, for that?
Yeah, they've actually written the letter, I just have to sign it, send it away.
I'll make the motion. And then Marlene seconded it, and all in favor? Okay. Good to go. Resolutions done, bylaws 11.1 recommendation. Money.
The council received a draft copy of the property maintenance and unsightly premises bylaw number 1040/2022 for information and or discussion.
This is the commercial one too as well, right?
It includes commercial, everybody's included.
Sorry. Haven't held it back.
Page 96.
Cold notes version, what'd you change on? Oh my gosh.
I will direct it to my lovely assistant. I don't think it changed very much. We just-
No, pretty much there was really no changes. It incorporated both bylaws into one. We just had two bylaws that were corresponding and kind of conflicting in some ways, with wording. One was like coming back to council and stuff, so we changed the wording to the administration. But pretty much it was just combining the two and being a little more specific towards commercial and being more direct, including them in the bylaw. They were included in the bylaw, but it's just a more laid out on this.
Money.
When I was reading this, I don't know, it almost seems like it's so detailed that it's right down to extreme points where you're looking at cracked paint and it's chipping.
It always goes on.
And, yeah, I realized that, and then you have the fences that, you know, if they're rotting at the bottom, and it just seems like it's over the top I realize that, and I had a problem with it before, but I'm like, where do you go with this?
Sandy,
So this is draft, right now, this is not being received for first, second, third, so if there's changes the council wishes to make, that is. Okay. Is there stuff you would like taken out, is there stuff you want added, is there, now's the time.
You want to list?
Yes,
Okay.
because we'll bring it back as a draft again.
I think the nice thing about having every, nook, cranny, nut and bolt covered is that it is up to the discretion of the bylaw. And I don't think our bylaw officer is gonna be wandering around inspecting the edges of fences. But it covers your butt in kind of everything, which is the nice thing. It is up to us as council and it is up to our, bylaw and, he's not the kind of guy who's gonna go around measuring how high your boards are from the lawn.
That's time to draft.
You guys measure the nuts?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Gets to a certain point. It has to be a certain height before you can do anything.
Right. What's the height, 4 feet?
So. If council
Right.
sees issues out there that need to be addressed, I would appreciate it if you emailed me or called me and then if you notice something that you think should be addressed, I don't have time to go and drive around and.
Oh, no.
So, but if you have issues, like if you have a concern, you should email me or call me or text me and then I can have them go look at it.
Like appliances and stuff like that, I have an issue with that, because kids can climb in there. Appliances and stuff, and freezers and
They're
stuff
not supposed to do those things. You take them off, you're supposed to take the doors off.
like that. Yeah, they don't, running.
When I was looking at this bylaw and thinking of it specifically, I was thinking of how each property is impacting properties around it. Rotting boards at the bottom of your fence, I'm guilty of that. Totally. So, do I
But your
rip,
fence is still standing.
my fence is still rotting. My fence is 35 years old, I built it.
So it's not.
My husband, I designed it, and my husband built it, and I painted it, and it was for my daughter. And it's whimsical and it's heartfelt. It's gonna be a difficult, but after
Point of order.
but it's the impact that you have on the people and properties around you. If paint is chipping off of your fence or chipping off of your windows, does it impact your neighbors and their properties? And then the bylaws can be used to call and make a complaint, and it is stating that, yeah, it's a problem, and fighting for that. And a person who is complaining has got a valid point, very valid.
Well, even as you just said it, your fence is rotting at the bottom and the bylaw hasn't come knocking on your door because he's not wandering around doing, it's in there, but it's just to cover our butts, it doesn't mean, and when it comes to the chipping of paint and the weathering of fences and, does that affect your neighbor? Yeah, that does, that brings down their property's worth, because who wants to buy your house when the neighbor's looks like it's been ran over?
Or even the garbage in the front yard.
Or the garbage in their front yard. I have a neighbor down the road from me and, but anyway, I think it looks fair.
What?
I was just telling her the grass height is 8 inches. Yeah. And it's on page 103.
It's in you.
So, do you want us to receive an example, or, okay. So I'll make a motion to receive this.
Seconded it,
Marlene is second.
no, Marlene
Yes, I'll second it.
And all in favor? And you want an
So if
email?
there's anything that you would like changed, could we please get an email within the next week or so? So we can revise it.
You want an invite?
Next Friday. This Friday is the 19th. Monday's the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th. August 26th. August 26th.
All in favor? Now, 11.2 recommendation. The council received the draft copy of the noise bylaw, number 1041/2022 for information or discussion.
I also have a question. I was reading through the noise bylaw, and in it says that residents can make noise between 7 a.m. and 10 p.m., but it doesn't talk about weekends or holidays being a different time. Now, provincially, in the province of British Columbia, on weekends and holidays, the noise time changes from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 a.m. is early on a Saturday.
People sleep in.
So,
But especially.
could we add in on weekends and holidays, it's from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m.?
And then nobody mowing their lawn at 5 in the morning?
5 in the morning?
People that mow their lawns.
You get weird people in this town.
Do you want me to email you the time change for weekends and holidays?
And people, lawnmowers being, no lawnmowers at 5 o'clock in the morning.
The other thing to keep in mind is that though, when you're changing times, especially on weekends, a lot of people don't have time until the weekend to do their DIY projects to maintain the property.
5 a.m. is normal.
So 5 a.m. is super, but 7 to 10, you know, that's a reasonable time, especially in the summertime, right? Because you have daylight until 10.
Fine, 9 to 10, sure.
Whatever your even, like, 9 to 10.
I was
I
thinking,
I would say 8 to 10 on the weekends in the summer.
better than.
Does this all pivot around its time? This entire bylaw? Because,
Old Monk's version there, Skylar?
well, when I was,
So essentially, kind of, yes. So you're allowed permitted from a certain time to certain time. Noise, certain time to certain time is quiet hours essentially.
Okay.
And
What
then there are
happens with these
essentially.
clause with no mufflers? Is that noise bylaw?
And all the animals from it.
And all the dogs barking.
yeah, because when I was reading this, it says that no person shall make or cause or permit to be made or cause any noise or sound that disturbs the quiet, peace, rest, enjoyment, comfort, and convenience of a person or persons in the vicinity. Wow, because we're rockers.
Yeah, you can't be rocking and dancing on the table.
Yeah, but we're rockers from way back. And you know what? Like, I mean, the crystal ship was here. Roy Forbes. You have, there are artists. Yeah, but that's what I'm talking about. I mean, they disturb the peace. And rest and the convenience and enjoyment of.
Point to board.
Yeah, but.
No, let's go.
Okay.
So the other thing with that time, if you're gonna change the weekends, under 6 each.
You're gonna email me.
I wanna look at that.
You're gonna email me.
6.8?
6 each, item 1.
No, Sky's right there now. She's gonna remind you, you're gonna get a nasty email from her, and you better answer it. So this is the draft.
Same idea as the first one, right?
So Marlena, you're gonna do your on the table draft to.
Administration reports, 12.1 scale.
You really want me to?
No, I just want the full vote version.
There's no full note version. I answered all the questions that were asked. So, just so you know, we received a one-time bonus payment of $106,000 in our 2022 small community grant. That's over and above our regular payment. Okay. And then the rest is just kind of answering stuff that council asked me for. Pillars of Hope, we've been trying to get a response from them in how the community can help, and
Small community grant, what was that down for? When we applied for the grant, what was it?
it's one that we get.
So you're recurring.
Yes.
Okay.
Poultry House, we've received the 2020 financial statements. I have them here if anybody wants to look at them. But we have not been able to get the previous years yet. We're working on that. Delegations from Sean Tellis, we still haven't been able to contact anybody. Zoning bylaw was supposed to come forward this time, but Skylar and I discovered a discrepancy in the zoning map, so we're working on that right now with their systems before it comes. The set water main, council asked to have the main water line scoped. That is not something that is done.
It is done.
There's only 2 people in all of Canada that do it, so it's big money. And if we run the risk of contaminating the water line. So is that something you wish to pursue? Yeah. Sophie. What was your question? Oh, that's poultry. Poultry.
No, Barb wanted to break down something.
No, that's the fire. Okay, so I have the, yes, is that what that was? Okay, so, at the last council meeting,
You want to break down how much?
we were asked about the 25,000 and under breakdown. I have that for you to look at here when you wish, as well as we had the Canada Day breakdown. I contacted PRD regarding if they had done any investigation into the sloughing and stuff like that. Their answer is here. They did some riprap installation on Bissett Creek after the flood in 2016, but they haven't done anything else since then.
And are they going to?
Not somebody takes it to them.
That it would be the responsibility of the homeowner,
Yeah.
not do any studies on those particular properties.
PRD, planning function. We currently are part of the PRD's planning function. And we have, when there's, and it costs us $2,600 a year. And that gives you the option to comment on things that are being, so when the PRD does a zoning bylaw change for the surrounding area, we get all the information. If it doesn't pertain to this area, it doesn't go on the agenda, otherwise you guys would have a whole bunch of them. I only put the ones on that. Okay. Or, so if council wishes to opt out completely, we need to know before August 31st. Or you can participate in planning decisions for a defined area.
I'll make a
bring this
motion.
forward.
I'll make a motion to only be in certain areas, Dawson Creek and the area D. We don't need to know what Fort St. John's, we don't need to know what Taylor's doing. We don't need to know what Charlie Lake's doing. Has nothing bearing on us. $2,600. No seconder. Any discussion?
So with that, so then it's still the same $2,600 that we get all.
I don't
the
know if
information.
the price goes down.
No, the price goes down. It does go down.
Okay.
How many email I sent you? Pardon?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Okay, want me to continue? Yep. Municipal insurance was here yesterday, assessing discussing village property different areas for liabilities. Overall report, I don't have a written report yet, but she gave me a brief report yesterday, and overall, our village looks very good. Couple suggestions, nothing at the post office. The museum, she just suggested maybe putting some smoke detectors in the outer buildings, because they don't have any. Only one of the buildings does. So she suggested maybe that. Our parks, for the most part, are in very good condition. We just need some signage on them. For
When you thought of parks, Hardin Park, did we not get a donation from the foundation, the July 1st Foundation, when they dissolved for playground equipment for Hardin Park and Moose Park?
They did there, and there is equipment up there. But because of COVID, that was put on the back burner. There's still money sitting there.
Okay, I'm just,
So we bought some benches and we bought some picnic tables so far, but
There is equipment over there. And we bought the fence for that money. Paid the fence for that. The fence around it. No more, no, that was COVID money.
no, not COVID.
Or not COVID money, foundation money. We haven't spent much of the foundation money. It was foundation. I'll tell you after. This is the guy that used to have a business license, if you remember.
Anyway, I think I remember a little bit now. That was way back. Anyway, okay. Then I went down to Ball Diamonds. There's not much there. I'll bring a more detailed report when she sends me the report. Council asked me last time to inquire about the BC Ombudsperson report that we got. And the ones that you guys were concerned with were the higher numbers, so bylaw enforcement, official community plan, other. As they stated in here, they don't investigate every, they just take an overview and look at it, so there really isn't any problems. We have that one issue that everybody knows about. And I've answered that email. So really, there's no major, if there is, they send us a request asking for more. Northwinds Wellness Center, I have spoken to them and they will use the highway entrance, they won't use the back roads. They're up again.
Going through the village, when they're going to build that facility. When they're building.
We'll find out. Right now, I addressed them hauling the rocks out, and they will use the back entrance. I reached out to the PRRD about the fire contract. Right now, they have 2 other contracts on the go, so they will not be addressing our fire contract until the end of October, beginning of November. We're gonna start looking into loader options for the winter, renting versus leasing. That's all I'm gonna say right now. And barricade letters went out on October 9th for down by Papa Don's. We've had 2 responses so far. We had staff meetings. Fire department, you had asked for the breakdown of calls that were in the village, outside of the village. So there's supplied me with these stats if anybody has any questions. That's all I have. And I won't be here Friday and Monday.
Friday night? On the loader, last year, like when we first got it elected, Chris had that presentation about that loader for the advantages of the winter and stuff. You know, it's how that.
No, we just
Oh, I thought we had it.
rented it.
Oh, okay, I thought we had that thing year round for the next couple of years. I thought it was year round fun.
We rent it for the snow removal and then we get it, I think, end of October, beginning of November, something like that. And then we send it back in April.
Oh, okay.
Just make sure when you order that, Sandy, you make sure you order it with the date. Because last time there was. Action item. Have you seen anything on the action item? Good job on all the complete.
everybody, number 11, our emergency response plan. Fire chief has asked us to hold off on this because there's gonna be new guidelines coming out in the fall, so he doesn't think that we should do anything with this right now. So it might possibly get moved next year.
Did you take the, Wichita Moats to the Dawson Creek Museum and that too?
I have not taken them to the museum. We've taken them to this museum, he's selling them for us. I have not taken them to the museum.
Do you have any left over?
That many?
Left over.
We have another box still.
Box full.
12 per 12, 36 per box, 36.
In the box.
Box. And one plus, so 36 plus 12, we have 48 left.
So do you want me to take them to the other museum? I'm not doing anything.
I can, you're gonna have to sign paperwork.
Just to get rid of them, right?
And that's it, everything else is pretty, Lagoon project is probably gonna start, second week in September. And we are hoping to be finished by the third week in November.
Did you be here?
Okay.
Or, Bart? Crack ceiling and asphalt patching. We got crack ceiling and asphalt patching. Okay, this road looks like it's been paved. No, this
We
road.
didn't, we combined both together this year. So you would have a bigger budget for paving.
Never a bigger contract, because they couldn't do it before. We voted on all that.
Yes.
Last year's pricing was good.
And we were gonna do paving last year too?
Yes, we had $100,000 for the paving last year, carried it over.
Okay. So we're gonna do that. So special, we looked at that, councilors, calendars, there probably ain't nothing.
Well, I filled it up with all the election stuff. So everybody knows, so you can't say you don't know.
I'm going September 29th till October 3rd. I think, yeah. Training.
Okay, Counselor Hebert.
The museum put their floats in the Dawson Creek Parade. Caught a bit of that parade. Oh, it was really, really, really well done. Very nice. I didn't realize that Dawson Creek had their 190th. I thought we
That's
were.
the exhibition. That's the exhibition.
Oh, it's exhibition.
Not Dawson, it's the exhibition. It's not the city. It's not the city.
Okay.
Oh,
I thought it
know
was
that.
Dawson
I don't-
Creek
no,
that was
it's
100.
The Dawson Creek exhibition.
Okay.
It's called, but it's not the city's.
Yeah, but anyway, they had a wonderful parade. I saw the fire trucks, our village fire trucks, our mayor is there. I just thought, just that last bit, they got held up somehow. And the seniors are having their dinner on the 19th. And I will be there.
Nothing. I did have a couple concerns from concerned residents about fire department running sprinklers during the heat. I understand bottled water for the fire department in here, but the residents were sort of frustrated because the cost of water has went up, and who approved, like, that comes back to the taxpayers to pay for that water that's being spent. I just am bringing it.
Counselor Beach.
Not a lot, I'm gonna be honest. Vacation, renovation, renovation, vacation. Same thing.
That would be nothing.
Yeah, so.
Counselor Woodall.
Nothing village related.
I called the Ministry of Transportation over the crosswalks. It's sitting with the engineer department right now. I rode in the fire truck in the parade. In Canada Day roughly cost $13,000, and the RCMP that patrolled the, school zones says he's catching lots of speeders. And is a trapper cabin, historical building. Can we register it? Fine.
Because they've done too many alterations.
And then with all the break-ins to our public works yard, do you think maybe we should have patrols there Friday, Saturday night? Have Sam, he's a security guard.
That would be over and above his contract.
Can we negotiate, or council decides, yes, that's an okay thing?
Up to you.
I think roughly we've been broken into how many times? 3 times, 4 times?
This year, how many times did you guys tell me?
4. Huh?
4.
They roughly gave, it's probably about $35,000 down. With all the
Wrong
break-ins.
gate.
Huh?
Wrong gate.
No, with all the break-ins, what they've taken all the time.
They've recovered,
All the
they've
repair.
recovered a good portion of the stuff.
But all the repairs? How much are all the repairs on that? How many replacements? Did you bring that back?
Here's the cost of all the break-ins, it's been about 35,000.
$7 grand. $7 grand? But we didn't have to replace any tools? Because I think there's one generator still missing. As far as I know, everything's been replaced.
No, there's still a generator. Yeah, as far as I know.
Let me see what you have.
I believe the GL's sitting at about 7,000.
How much would it cost Sam to?
I don't know, that's. I can check with him.
I'm gonna put a motion on the table that you would ask Sam how much it would cost for him to patrol those.
You just want a motion for security required for Friday, Saturday, and we'll investigate.
Can I second it? All in favor? Okay, now, Molly, I think that's it.
So you'll
Oh,
notice
and-
that there's a new, one more.
And, can we have, PRD, someone come down, when we have a new council to actually explain how PRD works? Can I have a seconder?
I'll second it.
Discussion? All in favor? And we are good.
No, you're not. You have it in camera.
I do? No, I don't.
Yeah, actually you do. You have to be there for the first part.
Well, honey,
So skip the part where it says she's supposed to recuse herself and just.
What's in camera?
what is it? I don't have it. I don't have the.
She didn't give it to me. Yes, it's on the back page. It's on the back, so, page 4, the beginning. Where's the second, guys?
Have you realized I have.
Okay, it doesn't matter. Who's seconding this? Who's seconding in it?
My name is
I'm
No, she
moving that.
read it.
And we
Vargas.
posted in camera as per section 91 GM.